Keep playing the same song.
Oh, it's the same song. I know.
He's watching you.
Test. Okay. Hello and welcome to the union of two of my favorite people on planet Earth. After 24 years, growing up with what Erica affectionately refers to as my boyfriend, and 8 years getting to know his best friend, I've been lucky enough to spend many memorable moments with Ryan and Rachel, but I'm most honored to spend today with you guys. I want to thank both of you for letting me be the one to stand up here with you while you exchange your vows and commit yourself to each other and your shared future. So, Ryan and Rachel didn't really give me any structure for this ceremony. They literally said, do what you want. And I've never had the opportunity to marry my friends in marriage, so I did what any millennial would and asked the internet for help. And first it told me to speak on the meaning of marriage. And for the last year while constructing this ceremony, I've really mulled over the what is marriage question. On the other side of the globe, marriage is arranged. In Las Vegas, an alcohol-induced spur-of-the-moment decision. Some marry for money, citizenship, or insurance and tax benefits, while some marriages serve as examples we might wish to emulate, while others teach us lessons from their mistakes. As I thought about the purpose and structure of marriage, I came to the conclusion that despite being celebrated across all continents and cultures, marriage does not have a universal meaning, so I began to search for my own. And maybe it's because I spent a lot of time on the beach this year, but I wanted to use sand as an analogy to explain my limited understanding on the delicacy of marriage and potential true love possesses. So here I go. The desire to love someone so deeply and make them your husband or wife always starts in a tender way, as tender and temperamental as the sand along a coastline. Love has a strong appeal to each of us. It makes us calmer, gentler, and softer. It encourages us to make a more positive perception of the world around us. The way it's described in books, depicted in movies, or exemplified by those around us, encourages each of us to find love. Yet true love, like building a sand castle, requires consistent hard work and a persistent willingness to adapt. Love is neither passive nor emotional. Love is like building, a verb, both active and a way of life. Take the promises, the vows you share with us today, and commit yourself to the process of carrying out said promises. For true love will not sustain on mere wishful thinking or daydreaming. I'm sure we've each attempted to build a sand castle, whether as kids or more recently in adulthood. But we are all very familiar with just how incredibly fragile sand is, and that's why we're so mesmerized by the detailed, gravity-defying structures experienced builders create. Marriage is just as fragile, but just as delicate a compound it might be, it is equally malleable. Marriage, like sand, has the potential to be made into something truly beautiful with the right amount of time and hard work. When you first become attracted to someone, you're willing to take the risk to know said person on a unique level, and after 8 years together, you have constantly been creative and strategic in how you express your feelings and continuously take this attraction to the next level. Despite being confident in your love for each other, you are incapable of knowing where you're headed in your shared journey. Your prospects encourage you to go all the way until death does you apart. However, true love takes us on a path that is just as unpredictable as it is beautiful. So don't get too serious. Never expect perfection. Building a sandcastle isn't really about perfection of the finished product, but harnessing your shared desires and enjoying the work along the way. In order to endure the unforeseen challenges, always be willing to adapt. When we love someone, we often have to step out of our comfort zone and do things we may not ordinarily do for ourselves. Sometimes we think we're loving someone to our fullest potential because we treat them the way we want to be treated, but that's not how it works. Marriage requires you to constantly be adaptive and accommodating. You have to be willing to accept the unconventional to make a balanced relationship. Always be willing to keep learning. Never become unwilling to learn how to trust and respect that person you're building your sandcastle with. You shouldn't expect anything else or less. Give it time. Sorry, I'm shaky. Give it time. Despite having 8 incredible, healthy, and unifying years together, always remain patient and embrace the effort it takes to produce an even more enriching and rewarding relationship together. No matter how much work you put into this marriage, remain steadfast. Don't fixate on the rewards you obtain from each other. No matter how much effort you put in, never expect to get something back in return. And no matter how much time you spend together, the love you already know so well truly has no boundary or limits. The love you share is constantly evolving and getting better. Recognize the love you already time that you already spent together has equipped you with the tools and knowledge to face the future and the hurdles every stage of life presents you with. Finally, the sandcastle we call marriage is never an individualized accomplishment. It takes 2 to make it a success, a structure that we can all marvel at. And when your sandcastle suffers an imperfection, share the blame. Whenever we meet someone, even the least selfish of us wonder what the other person will provide for us. But as the relationship deepens, it is important that you focus on the we rather than the me. This goes without saying because you're both like the least selfish people I know. But nonetheless, reject the desire to keep score or dwell on what you have done for your husband and wife, and focus on what I can do to make us better. So for the moment, that's enough from me. I will have Callie read real quick because she'll do a better job taking my disorganized rambling into thoughtful romantic prose.
Hi, everybody. The Art of Marriage by Wilfred A. Peterson. Happiness in marriage is not something that just happens. A good marriage must be created. In the art of marriage, the little things are the big things. It is never being too old to hold hands. It is remembering to say, I love you, at least once a day. It is never going to sleep angry. It is at no time taking the other for granted. The courtship should not end with the honeymoon. It should continue through all the years. It is speaking words of appreciation and demonstrating gratitude in thoughtful ways. It is not expecting the husband to wear a halo or the wife to wear wings of an angel, which you do. It is not looking for perfection in each other. It is cultivating flexibility, patience, understanding, and a sense of humor. It is having the capacity to forgive and forget. It is giving each other an atmosphere in which each can grow. It is finding room for the things of the spirit. It is a common search for the good and the beautiful. It is establishing a relationship in which the independence is equal, dependence is mutual, and obligation is reciprocal. It is not only marrying the right partner, it is being the right partner. It is discovering what marriage can be at its best.
All right, so in lieu of a spiritually centered speech about how I can only succeed in marriage with the help of some third-party higher power, I wanted to take time to reflect on the character of the 2 people, awesome people in front of me. And I think if I string the words together properly, I'll make a case for why I think Ryan and Rachel have the qualities and discipline to build a marriage of honor and longevity. First, I'll talk about this guy. For nearly 24 years, I've had the pleasure of growing up with the brother my parents could never give me.
Sorry.
I thank both our mothers for facilitating our friendship from a young age by scheduling playdates at Hardee's or the roller rink and driving us across town to listen to the latest Drake album on iTunes, play Xbox, or show off our newest Nerf guns. I'm incapable of imagining a life without Ryan since I've been making memories with this guy long before I could really remember anything. I know he keeps me around because I have a heart nearly as big as his that shares in his interests and values, but sometimes I still feel unworthy to call Ryan my best friend. Here are just a few reasons for why I think he's one of a kind. Ryan is incredibly disciplined. As a teenager, he always pissed me off when he wouldn't eat the same junk food I wanted to because he was too obsessed with his 8-pack and lats. Despite my laziness and pestering, he always found a way to get in his daily push-ups, pull-ups, and ab exercises, always choosing bananas and beefsteaks over the sugary poison I was putting in my body. While my privileged ass went home after school and laid around on the weekends, Ryan was working for slave wages so that he could buy a car, pay for gas, and purchase $600 airsoft and paintball guns. Although he might not always enjoy the process, he'll always put in the work to better himself and to provide for you. Ryan is incredibly loyal. When I spent the second half of college in the dumps, pulling off school and abusing substances, I treated my friends, especially my best friend, like shit. I should have been pissed. I would have been pissed if he had treated me as poorly as I treated him. Nonetheless, Ryan always made time for me and was just happy to see me make it out alive with a degree. No matter the time or intensity of adversity of life that will be thrown at your relationship, I know that he'll never leave your side. Ryan is insightful. Whether it is physical fitness and kinesiology, cars, guns, Star Wars canon, or obscure series of YouTube videos, Ryan always possesses a wealth of knowledge on the topics he's interested in. After 8 years together, I'm sure he's gained a lot of insight on Rachel's ambitions, needs, and how to make her feel loved. He's no neurologist or cardiologist, but he'll tirelessly expand on his knowledge to care for your mind and heart. He's a cerebral thinker. Some of my favorite memories with him are early morning hours spent talking about our place in the universe, our perception of reality, or ranting about any variety of political talking points. Most men never outgrow their limbic system, but Ryan will never allow his primordial reflexes to overcome his rational judgment. This, your most worthwhile relationship, will have its fair share of disagreements, but he'll never let his emotions get in the way of constructive dialogue. Ryan is creative. Whether it's the goofy videos he sends to our group chat, a penis-shaped hotel in Minecraft, the lazy limb, which is patent pending, customized anime apparel, or unique gift wrapping, he always leaves his mark on the content he creates. No matter how much time passes, I'm sure he will continually think outside the box to keep your relationship fresh and exciting. Ryan is a mediator. Despite being steadfast in his convictions and values, he's always willing to look at an argument from both sides. Many a times he's moderated an argument between Tony and myself in hopes of understanding each of our perspectives. Even though Tony is often wrong, it's nice of Ryan to try to validate Tony and quell my endless enraged rants. Ryan will never let his personal ideology or biases get in the way of your relationship's growth. Ryan is the least selfish person I know. I wouldn't expect his altruistic parents to raise him any other way. For years, I've described him as the least selfish only child on the planet, but that doesn't really get the point across. He loves my sisters like they were his own. He always shares his time, talents, and knowledge with those in need. Whether it be another 8 years or 80, regardless of illness or financial inconvenience, in this life or whatever comes after, as his wife and soulmate, you'll always be the priority. Ryan would make a great getaway driver after I commit a crime. Or at least that's what he tells me when he leaves me in the dust of every racing game we ever played. As Ryan's passenger, co-pilot, and teammate through life, Rachel will always be protected. Not in some archaic sexist way, but in a heartfelt and uplifting manner. Ryan will always encourage you to bravely face the challenges life presents and stand by your side in unwavering fashion. And finally, Brian is truly beloved. Neither of us have been known to keep a very large friend group, but anyone that meets him is probably jealous that I get to call him my best friend. Family, friends, roommates, co-workers, great family. Everyone wants to know and will see Ryan again. I'm sure that everyone here agrees that Ryan is easy to love. And Rachel, you love him the best. You've been given a gift to get to know my best friend on a level in which I never will. You love Ryan for reasons unknown to me. I hope so. I know you are immeasurably grateful for the time with him so far and will cherish every moment you have left together. Growing up, I never really thought there'd be anyone worthy of Ryan's goofy last name. That is until I look at Rachel and reflect on the 8 years I've gotten to know my best friend's best friend. Here's why Rachel is more than deserving of Ryan and why we all love her so much. Rachel is just as disciplined as Ryan, if not more. No way in hell you would find me up at 6 a.m. running. She manages to balance her work from home life without getting distracted by her cats and posting the cute positions they fall asleep in. And despite not kicking Kaylee's butt on the green anymore, she still pushes herself to take strokes off the game that she loves so much. Rachel is mentally and physically tough, morally steadfast, and calm under pressure. For 8 years, through academics, headaches of professionalism, a couple moves, and growing pains of early adulthood, she's been the ideal partner. Rachel is a caregiver. She's the oldest child, a familial status and responsibility I can empathize with, and she does it better than I do. Whether your younger siblings recognize it or not, you've always looked out for them and encouraged them to pursue their goals and remain by their side no matter how much you get on each other's nerves. Although I'm a nurse, I know that Rachel will do a better job keeping your best interest at heart and encourage you to be the best husband, son, and friend that you can be. Rachel is adoring. Rachel loves Ryan for everything he is and those things he might not ever be. From the banana Crocs and Lego collection that consistently spreads through their living room, to your goofy personality and eclectic taste in music or entertainment. Rachel can't get enough of you. Maybe your six-pack falls off tomorrow, never win another race in Need for Speed, or become obsessed with Gregorian chants and didgeridoos. Rachel will always love you, better than anyone else ever has and ever will, including me. Rachel is charismatic. She's a spark of joy in each of our lives. Her enthusiasm, laughter, and smile conveys a unique sense of warmth that welcomes in everyone that gets to know her. Her convictions are based in empathy for others, allowing her to genuinely and instinctively focus on the needs of those she loves most and those she has just met. Rachel never puts herself above others. Rachel, your magnetic personality makes it easy for Ryan to stay hopelessly devoted to you. which while I was writing this, Olivia Newton-John died, so I wrote RIP Olivia Newton-John. Rachel is affectionate. How can you not love Rachel? She doesn't hold any ill will, no judgment. She welcomes everyone into her life just as they are. She has a heart so large it should probably be checked out by a professional. She is naturally compassionate, sympathetic, and eternally selfless. I'm terrible at sharing my feelings with anyone in life, but I know that if I ever needed her, she would share her time, resources, to take care of me. She would do the same for any of you, just like she always has for Ryan. This world is full of people that need to get their tubes tied or snipped. It's a shame the best of us are too sane to give raising children a shot, but it just means more love for the rest of us. Rachel is creative. She's a natural, multi-talented artist. I know she's created a lot of gifts for us, a lot of us here today. Each one a personalized example of the unique love she shares with each of us. Her detailed drawings and paintings complement the ever-growing Lego collection in her living spaces. And with just a little bit of practice, Rachel can become proficient at whatever she puts her mind to. Whether it be art, a completely different hobby, or something as complicated as love, you'll always gracefully personalize the experience. Rachel is confident in herself. In a world where social media personalities construct facades of perfection, Rachel recognizes her self-worth, knows she's more than enough, and can laugh at herself. She's just fine living the life of an old retired couple. Rachel crochets with the speed of a grandma expecting triplets. Golfs like an old dentist that retired to Florida. And is a proud cat mom. She's one of a kind. And yet, regardless of her confidence, recognizes the faults that she can improve upon for the sake of your relationship. Rachel is protective, sometimes to my detriment. But I did take him to EDC and he came back just as safe and sane as when he left. I'm not much of a metric, but I know that Rachel is a much better influence than I am. She'll keep you alive, healthy, and fulfilled for many years to come. And then finally, Rachel is beautiful. Whether she's in a golf skirt or bikini on a hot summer day, sweatpants braving the harsh Minnesotan winters, or dialed up for date night, Brian can't take his eyes off of you. It's cliche, but your heart is truly the most beautiful part. You love unconditionally, you want what's best for Ryan, your closest family and friends, and those you've never met. All the qualities I've shared, the ones I haven't mentioned, and those only known to Ryan, have shaped Rachel's heart into one that can love my best friend better than any other. Now, I give Rachel and Ryan a lot of grief for acting like an old married couple, and although they go to bed at 10 p.m. on the weekend, have obscure collections, and spent countless hours crafting, it's their love for each other and the compassion for their loved ones that leads them to be the most mature. I personally think the institution of marriage doesn't hold any value. It's the love and respect you exemplify for each other every day that transcends any government or religious classification. Nonetheless, if there was ever a couple that should be married, that I'll draw inspiration from, it's you guys. Ryan, thank you for always being someone I can count on, no matter if we lived across town or across the country. I've never had a doubt that you are here for me, and I know I can trust that you'll take great care of Rachel. And Rachel, thank you for wholeheartedly loving my best friend. I know you'll take better care of my boyfriend than I ever could. So before we do the vows and exchange rings, I'll have Wyatt read real quick.
When Dave told me I was going to be reading something, I'm like, oh boy, I don't know what to expect. But the first time I read this, it's brought me to tears. So, you've known each other from the first glance, acquaintance, to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you've been making promises in an informal way. All those conversations that were held in a car or over a meal or during a long walk, all those sentences that began with when we're married and continued with I will and you will and we will. All those conversations that also began with someday, somehow, and maybe. All those promises and other unspoken matters of the heart. All these kind of things are the true process of a wedding. All the symbolic vows that you're about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know, all those things we said and hoped and dreamed. Well, I meant everyone. Look at one another now and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another. Acquaintance, friend, lover, dance partner, and even teacher. Over these past few years, you've learned much from one another. Now you shall say a few words that take you across a threshold in life, and things will never quite be the same. For after these few words, you will look at one another and say, this is my husband, and this is my wife.
Hi, everybody. This is going to be a lot shorter than the rest of everybody's stuff here, so I was told before writing this that by absolutely no means will this kick off my stand-up comedy career. However, I think a more democratic approach is more fair. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Afterwards, we will be doing a show of hands, yay or nay, majority rules here, so keep that in mind. Anyways, Rachel, I am so excited to spend the rest of my life with you. Marriage is so close to the beginning of a relationship, and there's so much more to come. Golfing has been a passion of yours since we met, and even though I haven't taken you up on lessons yet, it'll be a passion of mine one day, I'm sure of it. Until then, I vow to always be by your side, cheering you on from the golf cart next to the green, no matter if you sink yet another eagle or 5-putt for a quintuple bogey. You always keep me entertained. You make me laugh and are always pushing me to get out and do things. I would be a couch potato without you, surely. And to note, the whole bit I started at the beginning of this about my stand-up comedy career, that was actually your idea. However, we're still going to take a show of hands afterwards. Just kidding. But this is just another example of how you keep me sane and happy. And I love you endlessly for it. Lastly, your drive to help others is very apparent. You're there in times of need for anyone you care about, and I particularly experience this a lot. I'm in need quite a bit. And lastly, obviously, being in a relationship, help from one another, love and care should be felt regularly, but you've shown me that what level of love and care can truly reach. I promise to reciprocate this and love and care for you just as much as you do for me. And I vow to always be there for you, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, and everything in between. I love you, Rachel. Forever and always I do.
Ryan, hi, and I love you. Here we are, almost 8 years since your phone number with a 608 Madison area code was entered into my phone somewhere in some random UW Stout South Hall dorm room. Who would have known that back in 2014, that little slice of home in the form of an area code would be where we are today, home. You are my home. Almost 8 years together in this adventure called life, and now here we are starting a new adventure in marriage. Throughout our ups and downs, you've always been there as my rock, my person, my best friend, someone to come home to who brings stability and that warm, fuzzy feeling of home to whatever situation brings. I love you and cannot wait to continue living life with you. Forever I do promise to love you for richer or poorer, for sickness and health, for better or worse, and everything in between. Thank you for being you. You make me a better person, being my calming center and loving voice of reason. You are my Lego-loving, clone-collecting, Star Wars nerd who is the best cat dad ever. And you never cease to amaze me with your clever Venmo captions and the solid one-liners that'll have me laughing until I'm crying. Whatever life brings, I can't wait to do it with you right by my side. I love you to the moon and back, and China, because that's also far too. Love, Rachel.
With this ring,
I marry you and bind my life to yours.
I marry you and bind my life to yours.
It is a symbol of my eternal love,
It's a symbol of my eternal love,
my everlasting friendship,
my everlasting friendship,
and the promise of all tomorrows.
and the promise of all tomorrows. Doing this one-handed too, it's kind of tough.
I give you this ring as a reminder
I give you this ring as a reminder
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
in all times,
in all times,
in all
in all
places,
places,
and in all ways forever.
and in all ways and forever.
Ryan and Rachel, you've expressed your love to one another through the commitment and promise you just made. It is with these in mind that I pronounce you husband and wife. You have kissed 1,000 times before, but today the feeling is new. No longer simply partners and best friends, you become husband and wife, and now seal the agreement with a kiss. Today your kiss is a promise.